So in 10 days' time, the federal government's emergency travel program for Ukrainians is set to expire. According to one local group, that deadline has led to the surge in people trying to make it here before that deadline comes. But some who arrive are finding there's nowhere for them to initially stay. Supports they were expecting, namely a 14-day hotel stay, is not being offered to all of them, leaving some people to sleep at the airport or even on the street. Oleg Redko has been speaking with some of the Ukrainian newcomers in that situation. Oleg himself came to Canada just 3.5 months ago from Ukraine, and he's helping others who are arriving here and within the community. Oleg, it's good to see you. Welcome to Canada, first of all.
Good morning, and thank you. Thank you for welcoming me.
So tell me, we're glad to help out in any little way that we can, or in big ways as well. When you arrived here 3.5 months ago, you arrived at Pearson Airport, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And then once you landed, what supports were available to you?
To be honest, it was incredible because we got everything that we needed. We even got, shampoo, water, because you're tired, you're coming from Europe, you're not coming just to another country, you're coming to another continent, okay? So that's really big step. So we were really well welcomed. There was a Canadian Red Cross welcoming us. They spoke Ukrainian language, they spoke English, and they offered us, first of all, 3 days, and then 11 days more in a hotel.
Okay, and as you say, look, you weren't coming here for vacation. You're fleeing a war.
Exactly.
You're uprooting your entire life and coming here. So in addition to the tiny little things like shampoo, having a place to stay while you navigate.
Yeah, it's essential. It's essential because it's scary, I mean, when you come after... Our family, we came after the war, like literally after the war. We have been the first months during the war in Kyiv. We have been living for 8 months in Europe in the refugee camps. So when we were going to Canada, it was scary, because even the little things, that we already had in Europe, we were leaving them behind, I mean, you can't get all your life in a luggage of 23 kilograms.
Of course. Okay, so what has changed? This was only 3.5 months ago. You got 14 days in a hotel. What's changed in terms of support for other Ukrainians who are now landing at Pearson?
It seems that during the last weeks, there have been a problem of availability of accommodation for the Ukrainians who were coming. And people were trying to get some room, some place where to sleep, and there were no place available for them. One of the things that I'm concerned of is that there was some kind of selection process of who can get the hotel room and who can't get it. Okay, so from one hand, probably it would be wise to check who is more needing, this hotel room from one hand. But from another hand, we know that there have been a lot of men, that didn't get the room, and a lot of people in 30, 40-ish age, that didn't get the room. And that's kind of, in my sense of view, it's kind of age and gender discrimination.
So let me just clarify. So when you arrived 3.5 months ago, everyone who arrived was getting a pre-arranged hotel for 14 days. So you could have a softer landing here in Canada.
Exactly.
And now that's changed where some people are getting it, some people are not. We'll talk about why that may be happening. I said in the introduction, Oleg, that people are literally staying in the airport because they have nowhere to go when they first land here or on the street. Is that true?
Yeah,
you have Ukrainian newcomers?
Yeah, some of them that didn't get the room, they were sleeping in the airport for a few days. Some of them, absolutely. And the problem is the next one. So when Ukrainians are coming to Canada, we get this financial assistance from the government. So we get $3,000 per adult and $1,500 per child. Now, to get this money, you need a bank account. So you need the SIN number, you need the bank account, you need to open everything, you need to get the money on somewhere. If the person stays in the airport sleeping for 3, 4, 5 days, I mean, how is he going to get this money even, How is he going to rent some place, some basement, some rooms somewhere, And many people are coming without money. And the biggest problem is the next one. During all the year that Ukrainians were coming to Canada, there was all this information in the networks, so people knew that when you come, you're welcomed, you get all these things, you're really, you get all this help. Now, people were coming in the last weeks, and they're like, okay, I'm going to be welcomed, I'm going to be helped, and they're like, I'm not going to be welcomed, and I'm not going to be helped, and that's the biggest problem, because many people were coming without money, without any money, spending the last money on their ticket to Canada.
And as you say, there is financial support from the government, but you need a bank account.
Exactly.
And in order to get a bank account, you need an address. And if you're sleeping on the floor of an airport or
It's
don't
impossible.
have an address,
You're literally homeless. So you come to Canada and you become homeless the first day. You start your life from being a refugee to homeless in a new country. And that's horrible.
I think this is going to be astonishing for a lot of people.
Yeah, I hope so.
To hear. You sent a letter about all of this to the Red Cross, which had been helping Ukrainian newcomers at the airport and those hotels. They used to manage the emergency support. So you contacted them. What did the Red Cross say to you?
The Red Cross said to me the next thing. So we spoke on the telephone and also by email. So on the telephone, they said me the next thing. They said that the program was created in that way that each person that asks for a help needs to get this help. That was at the time when the Canadian Red Cross was in the airport. So they were concerned about what is the situation now. So I said, I don't know, guys, make some investigation, ask the new organization, ask the government what is happening. Maybe it's lack of funds, maybe it's lack of rooms, whatever. But this problem, it needs to find a solution to this.
Well, I'm glad you had a soft landing.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to our city. I hope you can build a good life here. Appreciate you
You're
coming
great.
in. Oleg Redko recently came to Canada just 3.5 months ago from Ukraine. He's now helping others on the same path come here. In just a moment, I'm going to be speaking with someone with the newly established settlement organization that handles emergency supports for Ukrainians when they arrive in Canada. But first, let's go to Kevin with a look at your commute. Well, I was just talking to Oleg about Ukrainian newcomers coming to our city, being left without a place to stay when they arrive at Pearson Airport. Evgeniy Duvalko is with the settlement organization that handles emergency supports for those newcomers, the Canadian Ukrainian Immigrant Aid Society, program director for the group's airport reception project. Evgeniy, good morning to you. Hi.
Good morning, Pio.
I know I just said it was newly established. I know it's not my misspeak there, but I know that you're on the ground trying to help people now at the airport. So how many people aren't being given a place to stay when they land at Pearson now?
I would say there's quite a number of people who do not require emergency stays. And even from the start of the program, start of the arrivals, a lot have been picked up by hosts and family and friends. So the purpose of the reception services, the purpose of these emergency stays is to catch those who or provide emergency shelters for those who do not have a plan in place.
And for those people, if you fall into that latter category, are you getting a hotel no matter what?
Some are. The more vulnerable travelers are getting prioritized for stays. We just have last week, I think, and then 2 weeks before, has been a case of a surge in arrivals. Earlier in December, when Oleg arrived, we took over a week later, and there was 100 arrivals per week, 100 rooms that required a station, people that required accommodation. Last week, there was 1,400 people that required.
That's tenfold increase.
Tenfold that came up to us asking for assistance of various types. So that's a tenfold increase. We in the period between sort of December, we took over the capacity that has been of hotel rooms has been increased threefold. So there's now over 600 rooms that the federal government has been paying for, trying to go do good on this promise for emergency stays. And it's just a number of a case of supply and demand. And the nature of this program is a lot of arrivals are unannounced, so it's hard to plan for.
So just explain to me more. So this program initially was run by the Red Cross, and now you're doing so what was different when they were running? Was it just the sheer fewer number of people arriving?
Well, our organization has been working with or alongside the Red Cross since they started their work there. We had volunteers starting from early May, working alongside with the Red Cross. So we feel we're fairly deeply in the loop of And the Red Cross also went through a phase of a shortage of rooms, and they did have a needs assessment and process of trying to match needs with supply. And midsummer, there was also a period where not everyone who wished to ask for accommodation was able to get it because there was a sort of a needs assessment being made.
You said vulnerable people. You're assessing, like, that's the sort of group you're working with. How are you deciding who is vulnerable and in need in a hotel and who isn't?
We look at sort of, there are families with children, single mothers with children. Seem to us that they would, people elderly who sort of have nobody here, have no friends, would be the ones that we would recommend or see the ones that sort of fit into.
Right.
And then for those who may not want emergency stays, but there is also a lot of work being done to inform what else is available, what low-cost temporary accommodations are available around the airport, further away, who takes which hotels take cash payments, which hotel take credit cards, motels, and then which agencies are available the next day for further assistance. So there is quite a bit of help being provided at the airport in the 2 or 3 hours that we sort of interact with arrivals.
You are here to help newcomers. This is you want to be doing this. I can't imagine this is an ideal scenario for you and your organization.
No, but somebody has to be the sort of the first welcoming face, trying to explain the situation in their first language. And we have wonderful staff, sort of agents many of whom are recent arrivals themselves. They have experienced coming through the airport to a new country. They've landed and they sort of set themselves up and now can give back and talk through, sort of walk through the new arrivals, what next to expect, and help them deal with the reality of what is sort of is different from from these arrivals' expectations, and what other assistance is available.
Are you pressing any other groups or governments to say, look, everyone should get these hotels, or more people? We just have too many people coming in.
We are in daily, or if not weekly, if not daily contact with IRCC, or the funders that are responsible, that have provided the hotels, and they hear us. And we have the capacity has increased this week, so we'll have more people to be offered housing. And now that we also have received an announcement that the hotel stays, of which are there much more now, will be extended to June 30th as an option for new arrivals.
For some of those new arrivals, the ones that
really need it. Yeah.
Okay. The federal government emergency travel program for Ukrainians, as I mentioned, is set to expire at the end of this month. So I'm assuming that you expect the next 10 days to be extraordinarily busy. We expect the end of March to be busy, so we are anticipating that. We have just another 40 rooms added this yesterday to the inventory of hotels, so we feel better prepared for the last surge, and we feel a lot better supported by the feds. Okay, Eugene, we'll leave it there. Thank you. Appreciate you coming in as well.
I appreciate being able to share the view from the airport.
Evgeniy Duvalko is Program Director for the Canadian Ukrainian Immigrant Aid Society's Airport Reception Project.